Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. So I finally got my student account. Kind of excited to. Sorry, there's gonna be a lag or an echo, I should say. There we go. Good morning, Masher, Huguetes, Seven, James, Minster, John O. What's up, bro? It's a little warm in Houston today, man. Sean Kelly, good morning. Huguetes, good morning. Yeah, they actually removed IGC from TEFs, but it doesn't look too bad. But main watches today are PLAG, which is still up a ton. Gonna look to possibly short this one, depending on how it acts at the open. AMRN looks okay. NBEV is moving some. It's break even in pre-market, but it's still moving. CRON, DVAX, up a ton yesterday. Gonna see if it drops some today. SOXS, gapping up from 1308 to 1365. PTI starting to wash. It seems to have some support right where it's at now at $7.20. And so going to look to see if it breaks underneath the 720 level. Comes down to 7, maybe breaks under that. So going to watch that. YECO is still gapping down. Kind of heading back down from this big move it had yesterday. Sitting at 595, gapping down from 644. Although the volume is a little bit lower. Got to be careful with that one. Looking at VKTX here. And like I mentioned, IGC doesn't look too bad. A few that I can't trade, ACB. Gapping up some from 770 to 830 looks good. CASI had a big run yesterday. There's also TRVG, which is gapping up some. Going to look to possibly short this one at the open if it sets up. LLEX, LIQT. GLBS, low volume. ESEA has been moving some, but it just kind of came right back down. It's gapping up from 193 only to 210 now, where it's sitting. TRPX is moving some. And yeah, so a few other ones I'm watching, but we seem to have some volume today. Tops is dropping some. I'm guessing the shipping sector is going to be following it, or this may be a sympathy play. Yeah, DCIX is dropping some. DRYS, they did add to TEFs. They added DRYS dry ships, but it's not moving that much. We'll see what happens. UGAZ. Look at UGAZ start to spike up some. We got PLAG. I'm kind of concerned about PLAG. The reason being is because, I know yesterday I said this with PLAG, is that this one kind of shot up to 1150s, was halted Friday, resumed Monday, and then resumed all the way down at the $5 level, and then bounced all the way back up to almost $10, and then came right back down. Yeah, Houston is warmer today. I was kind of getting used to the cold. It's been kind of a hectic day, honestly. I can go on and rant about it, but I don't know if people want to hear it. But so I think I have sleep apnea. To get into a sleep study, it's going to take months and months just to get me into a sleep study. And so I've been waking up every night gasping for air. I just went out and bought myself a CPAP machine last night, but those things are so tough to sleep with. I have the pressure set all the way down just to see if it helps, but man, I'm not used to sleeping with that thing. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Sorry, just waking up from my coffee. But yeah, look at SOXS. It's rebounding some from this big monstrous drop it had yesterday. I'm kind of bummed out they removed IGC. It's a real account. The way you can tell, the demo accounts will have demo next to it, and the demo accounts will allow you to trade much more than the regular accounts. And you can see here, IGC isn't tradable for me. What else? A lot of stuff isn't tradable today, but that's okay. There's still some that's tradable. GLBS isn't tradable. ACB isn't tradable. ESEA isn't tradable. So frustrating, but there's still enough options for me to trade. I've been kind of getting by with it. So just looking at what's moving in pre, looking at some of the down gappers now. SIX gapping down a significant amount here from 63.46 to 56.50. STM gapping down some. This one doesn't look that bad. I mean, maybe for a rebound play. We'll see if it's tradable. It is tradable, so that's good. MKSI gapping down some. YECO, like I said, this one gapping down some on low volume. Kind of went crazy the last, few weeks, last week or two. Moving up from $2 all the way to 18. And John you're asking me if there's any options in play. Like, really, my kind of strategy with these options is to short these big parabolic movers. I think a lot of the time, if you look at the history of some of these big parabolic movers, they typically come right back down. And this is a good example on YECO. It went up from 163 almost to 18, back down to 5s. Another one, PTI, kind of the same type of move here. 185 up to 11, back down to 6 or 650. Another example, let me see if I could find one. But the point is that this happens so much in the market where you have these big parabolic movers that run up, 3, 4, 500%, and then they typically the keyword come right back down. There's always going to be outliers. Like, some stocks are always going to end up running. Like, one of those examples is AMRN. Kind of ran up and never really came right back down, just kind of kept moving. But this is an outlier. Another one, I kind of did the same thing, just never really came back down. Yeah, man, I've used the nasal strips before. They don't help that much, and I've been diagnosed with mild sleep apnea, but the problem is that it doesn't happen every night, at least that I notice. And it's kind of a tough situation because, with conventional sleep apnea, typically you wake up in the middle of the night. Like, after you're already asleep, you wake up in the middle of the night. This happens as I'm falling asleep. So, like, as I'm starting to fall asleep, but I'm not quite in full sleep yet, I wake up gasping for air. I have these really strange sensations on my chest, and so it could be indicative of heart problems, which could be caused by the sleep apnea, but I don't know. But it's just frustrating, just to get anything done in the medical field. Like, the doctor diagnosed me with sleep apnea about a year ago, and she wanted me to get a more thorough sleep study done. It would have taken a month and a half just to get into, like, the full sleep study. And in that time frame, while I was waiting to go to my appointment, the symptoms stopped. And so really what I think it is I think I have a deviated septum. Like, my septum's a little crooked and deviated, I think. And so because of that, it's hard for me to breathe. I can't really smell that good in general. And so I think that's kind of causing it and obstructing it. And I think that's ultimately kind of what happens. I mean, I'm 170 pounds, people of the book. I'm 170, 175 pounds, 5'11", 175 pounds. So, I'm not heavy by any means. I'm probably maybe a little bit I'm for 5'11", I'm probably around average, maybe a little bit underweight, but not by much. I mean, I go to the gym. I think I'm relatively healthy. I don't even snore. Like, I'm not a snorer. Like, I don't snore at all. But I think the real fix is just going to be getting my septum fixed, is what I really think it is. Right. I mean, it's not that I'm heavy at all. Like, I'm not big. I'm not a huge person. I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm overweight. I go to the gym, almost. I try to go to the gym twice a week is usually what I end up doing. I go to the gym about twice a week. But the point is, I don't snore. I'm not, overweight or anything like that. I just think it's because of my septum, honestly. I saw somebody asked how much was TradeNet per month. Um, TradeNet is, I know the platform is $15 a month, and they take that out of your account balance. Yeah, I mean, I don't smoke actual cigarettes. Like, I vape nicotine cigarettes, but I don't actually smoke real cigarettes. I kind of transitioned. Once I had kids, specifically my son, who's 4, I quit real cigarettes. I stopped smoking real cigarettes. I'd like to pretend it was because, I had the discipline to stay healthy for me, but it was really just because of my kids. I didn't want them going to school smelling like cigarettes. And so I switched to vaping, and that's all I've really done since. But I know I need to get off those for sure. Oh no, I mean I'm not saying you're wrong, people of the book. Honestly, I value your input. To be honest, I was just saying I'm not overweight at all. And really, I'm trying to gain weight, if anything. So, all right, VTVT popping up on the scanners. Wow, look at VTVT. Yeah, it's popping up here, starting to run up from 370 to 416s. Yeah, this is another one of those ones that kind of went crazy, but sure, Bamboo. Give me 1 second, man. I'll send it to you. Here you go. Yeah, I'm a pretty lean guy, man. Like I said, I'm trying to gain weight more than anything. Like I said, I'm about 170, 175 pounds, 5'11". Yeah, no problem, Bamboo. What's up, cool? How you doing, brother? Do you think how much more the pullback is going to be on the cannabis stocks? I have ACB. Should I still hold it? I mean, I don't know whether you should or shouldn't. I don't really want to give you that advice just for liability reasons. Um, it's tough to tell. The reason being is because, the last week or so with these cannabis stocks, they've kind of been dropping, most of the time. Like I said yesterday, like there's been tons of VWAP fades almost every day with some of these cannabis stocks, specifically NBEV. You can see there's a VWAP fade here. And then if you go back, you can just see how many fades here, here. And so they've been fading almost every day. Specifically NBEV has. And so, usually when that happens, it's because the stock's kind of in a downward trend. And so that's kind of the natural progression of it, just from being in a downward trend. And so since they've been in a downward trend for so long, I guess I'm a little bit more long biased, but they did bounce yesterday. But there's no telling. I try to just react to what I see happen, and as opposed to, trying to predict what they're going to do. Never really had good results trying to predict, and I'd rather just react if they set up with my, pattern or strategy. Yeah, PLAG is tradable. But yeah, it's just kind of been a frustrating process with the whole thing. Now if I want to get a legitimate sleep study done, I'm gonna have to wait another month and a half. And so I just went out and bought a CPAP machine myself, and tried using it last night. But I got to get used to it. It's just not something I'm used to. I usually sleep really easily, but still frustrating. But it should suffice until I can actually get into a sleep study just using the lowest settings. What I think it is, I think since the cold weather kind of hit here in Texas, that my nose is more stopped up, and so because of that, the episodes are getting worse with the change in weather. Is what I think what I think is really going on. But NBEV is a CBD stock, and so I kind of classify it as a cannabis stock. But I mean, I understand if you don't. Um, But regardless, I mean, this is why I classify it as a cannabis stock. If you look at CRON, which is very obviously a cannabis stock, it looks almost exactly the same as NBEV. And so these kind of stocks follow each other. Like if you look at CRON and NBEV, they do very similar moves. They are sympathy plays from one another. Same thing with CGC. Same thing with TLRY. You know, if you look at TLRY, CGC, CRON, and NBEV, they all look very, very similar to each other. The one kind of outlier stock that's not really acting the same, maybe IGC, but it did a very similar move as well. So they all kind of follow each other, and that's kind of why I classify NBEV as one, because it's a CBD stock. And so... Yes, I have the student account finally. Yeah, TLRY. Same thing. Kind of doing similar moves, just a little bit more expensive as all these other cannabis stocks. Like if you look at NBEV, TLRY, very similar moves yesterday for both of these. Look almost identical. Same thing with CRON, CGC. So, very similar. That's kind of why I classify it as that. Not even because of what the company is, just because of the sympathy moves that look identical to the other cannabis stocks. But yeah, kind of watching PTI here. PTI looks interesting. I bounced off that support at 720 that I drew a while back, so looks interesting. Gonna watch PTI, PLAG, TRVG, NBEV, and some of these other ones today. Yeah, the mask I have right now is a nasal mask. It has the little two nasal things in it. But like I said, it's just tough to get used to. Honestly, I'm just not used to it. Specifically breathing with it. It's hard to breathe out of my mouth. There feels like pressure when I'm breathing out of my mouth, and so it's just weird. It's just something I have to get used to. But yeah, TRVG doesn't look bad. I'm gapping up from 497 to 571, so over 10% gap up, I'd say. I think over 10%, but it looks good. Gonna look to possibly short it if it continues to drop, give some of these gains back. PTI, kind of the same thing here, has some support at 720, and so gonna see if it can break underneath there, give me a little fade opportunity. Like I think I mentioned earlier, YECO dropping some. We'll see where that one goes, see if some volume picks up. PLAG has some support at $7. It's been acting as support at 7 right here. And so we're going to see if it can break under these two supports, going to start dropping down to maybe 650 or 6 if it gives us that opportunity. I don't really know what kind of share size I'm going to take with it. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like, people of the book. That's exactly what it feels like, man. Good analogy. But yeah, watching TRVG, main watches, probably PTI, TRVG, and the cannabis sector, NBEV, CRON. So we'll see what happens. Gonna look at the news up in a second. See if anything's popping up on my scanners here. Frank, I'm not sure what you should do, Frank. One thing about the channel, I don't like to give people like set in stone instructions or advice just for liability reasons. I like to just, if people want to see what I'm doing, they can, but just for liability reasons, I try not to give people advice like buy a stock here, buy a stock there. I just try not to do that. Plus, I'm also more of a short-term day trader, and so with regard to holding stocks longer, like over a few hours, I'm not really probably the best one to give you advice on that type of stuff. What else is my hobby? What else do I do for fun? I play video games. I love poker. I run. I like to go running jogging, I should say. Um, hang out with my kids. Really love poker. Big poker fan. I've been playing poker for 5-6 years now. So play some poker, but hey, well, appreciate it, Frank. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, PLAG looks good. The range just huge on PLAG, so it's like when the range is this big, I'm a little bit lost with regard to how much what kind of sizing I should take. I don't know if I take 100 shares, I could be down a few $100 with a typical swing, and so with cheap stock with a big range like this, it's just I don't know what kind of share size to take with it. I think he's just tagging me, Eric. I think he's just tagging me. I think anytime you say my name, it tags it. Round trip commissions, Bamboo, they vary. So I think the official commission rate they give you is 0.006 cents per share. But there's a $1.50 minimum per trade, and so if you're not going to hit that $1.50 minimum, they automatically charge you $1.50. So, like for instance, if I'm buying 100 shares of a stock, it's just going to be 150 in, 150 out, so $3 for a round trip plus some ECN fees. I think Live Gains calculated it out to be roughly 0.0075 cents per share. And so, I mean, if you're using less than 250 shares, it's $3 or $4 for a round trip. And so, still pretty cheap. That's why I like TEFs. CVSI. What scanners do I use? So, Jason, I use a mix of Trade Ideas. And shout out to Trade Ideas for allowing me to stream these scans. They did give me the green light to stream these scans. And so definitely appreciative of Trade Ideas for doing that. Really awesome scanner, really customizable. I'm currently working on building a VWAP fade scan. But really easy. It's a really easy morning with these scanners with regard to like gappers. I can build custom scans. Like I have a few custom breaking out on volume, high of the day Momo scanners, and a few other ones. And so, shout out to Trade Ideas. If anybody's interested, I'll go ahead and post the link. And so go check them out if you have time. Yeah, no worries, Bamboo. Another scanner that I use is SnapTrade. And they did sponsor today's news, so I do want to say that they are a sponsor of this channel. But I still use them on a daily basis. What I really use them for, you can see here, I build my watch list each morning with SnapTrade. Then I do share it with a decent amount of traders here, so if you want to be added to the share list, let me know. But yeah, I build my watch list. It's really easy to add stocks to your list, and then you can share them with other people. And I think that's really the beauty of SnapTrade. It's a very social watch list sharing platform, and so you can build your watch list. It shows you the volume change percentage, the 3-day change percentage, what the volume is on the stock, the technical signal strength, market cap, and a lot more. Plus they have scanners here, so regardless of what sector you're looking at, if you want to look at the cannabis sector, they have a scanner for that. High gainer volatile stocks, high gainer penny stocks if that's your niche in trading crypto. And so regardless of what you're kind of interested in, they typically have a scan for it. So I definitely like using SnapTrade, but I use a mix of different scanners. I'll go ahead and post SnapTrade's link as well if anybody wants to check them out. Yeah, what's up, Live Gains? Hey, Live Gains, man. Somebody was asking me about the commission rate on TEFs. What was the commission rate you came out with, Live Gains? It was you that did it, I think, right? Wasn't it 0.0075 cents per share or something like that? It was something like that. But regardless of what it is, whether it's 0.006 or 0.0075, still really, really cheap commissions, relative to most other brokers. Most other brokers, regardless of the share size, are going to charge you at least $12 to $14 for a round trip. And I mean, if you buy 1,000 shares on TEFs, it's going to equal about that. But the beauty is that I can buy smaller share size and save a lot of money on commissions. CVSI. I know some people mentioning CVSI. Yeah, it's rebounding some here. Interesting. I mean, it's putting in higher lows on the daily chart for CVSI. TTNP. I mean, for TTNP, it's tough. I mean, a lot of times you see these stocks that start out like this, and then they just rebound all the way up to a few bucks, and so they just start to go parabolic. A lot of times they come right back down within the next few weeks, but you know, it is interesting for TTNP. Yeah, exactly, young investor. If you use smaller share size with larger caps, you're gonna pay much less in commissions than most other brokers. TRVG starting to spike up here. It's at 584. Maybe testing this pre-market high at 590 for TRVG. We'll see what happens. How do I get these scanners? These are Trade Idea scanners. They do cost money for Trade Ideas, but really love their scans. And really, honestly, just a cool company. They allow me to stream these scans, and so you know, I can respect Trade Ideas for sure. I've been using Trade Ideas really before I even started live streaming. Like, I've been using Trade Ideas for about 2 years now, off and on. But like I said, at this point, I'm working on building a custom VWAP scan. What I'm really thinking about doing is looking for stocks that drop a certain percentage at the open and then pull back to the VWAP and then have a scan that pops up. I could either just set one that for stocks that drop 5 cents that are underneath the VWAP, or 5% or something like that are underneath the VWAP, or I could try to set like a more thorough scan that actually lets me know when it's rebounding to the VWAP. The only problem with that one is it might be a little bit late once I do see that. So, what's up, Milan? What's up, bro? Good morning, Felix. PLAG. Yeah, PLAG bounced off of the whole dollar of 7 here. It's had a lot of support, 683 to 7. There's a lot of support there. That's really what I'm looking to see if it breaks underneath there. Gives me an entry. The VWAP would have to drop down some in order for it to really set up, but on ATT, yeah, float's already on it, Mark. Float's all the way on the right. You can see right here on both of these, float. But hey, appreciate the sub, Zahir. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. But yeah, the float's all the way on the right side here. ATT. Not loading on my chart. Let's see if we can get it to load here. Yeah, ATT's not loading for me for some reason. Earnings. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go over the news. First one I'm looking up is TRVG, Trivago. I think this is like a travel website. If I can remember the commercials. So Q3 adjusted earnings. of 26.6 million euros, which is about 30.5 million US dollars per diluted share, up from $7.1 million loss a year ago, and is better than the analyst projections. And so positive earnings for TRVG. We'll see what happens with that one. Gonna look PTI up, see if it has any catalyst here. Not really seeing much move for PTI. The reason it dropped some in PTI is because it priced its underwritten public offering of 11 million common shares at $6.75, which is a discount on today's price, and so that's why it dropped, which makes sense, kind of filling the gap of the offering price. Another one I'm looking at is, let's see, PTI or PLAG, see if it has any reason. PTI is just bouncing back though. I'm not seeing any catalyst for PTI. I mean, I'm seeing some a few days ago after it regained okay, so yeah. So PLAG announced that it regained compliance with the New York Stock Exchange. And so that is why it's still up some from yesterday's lows. Let's see, some more to look at. ESEA. I can't trade this one, but ESEA moving some. Kind of a strange mover. We'll see why this one's moving. Another one really quick while I see the news here. SENS is up a ton because it disclosed that Aetna will provide coverage for one of its glucose monitoring systems for SENS. Gonna watch CDNS as well today. I think ESEA is just down because it went up so much Monday. I'm going to have to look up the news on ESEA to see if I could see any actual catalyst, but I don't see anything really so far. If anybody knows why ESEA was up so much on Monday, let me know. And that's really about it. I mean, there's a few other ones. I guess I can look up a few more here, but I want to start getting ready for the open in a minute or so. I think those are really the main ones here. So yeah, watching PTI, TRVG, PLAG, and some of these cannabis stocks. It's going to rotate its float. That makes sense. What's up, Hugetes? Tops has an offering this morning. Interesting. Yeah, some of the other shipping stocks. Isn't PTI? No, PTI is not a shipping stock. A few of the other shipping stocks, DCIX, down some. What's another one? DRYS, although this one hasn't been moving much in pre. SHIP. I'm just trying to remember the old shipping stocks. ESEA might be a shipping stock. And so, yeah, that's probably why. That makes sense. All right, guys, we got about 3.5 minutes. C-drill popping up on my scans here. Gapping up some. We'll see what happens. But PTI actually starting to push up nicely here. It's up to 785. So interesting here for PTI. Got to see where that goes. TRVG used to be tradable. It was a big company. Did they remove it? They did. Oh, man. They removed TRVG. How frustrating is that? TRVG is not tradable anymore. Man, that's frustrating. TRVG is a big company, too. I mean, it's not a big company, but Trivago, I mean, everybody's seen those commercials. I'm surprised it's not tradable. That was one of my favorite ones this morning, too. Not going to dwell on it, but frustrating. CLSN starting to get some volume here in pre. CLSN. Gonna watch CDNS, see if it gives up some of these gains. And DVAX is still up a lot from yesterday. So gonna watch DVAX, see if it gives up some of these as well. Wait, what was the one that we traded yesterday? Does anybody remember? It was the one Mitch traded yesterday specifically. I thought it was DVAX, but maybe not. Let me look at my watch list from yesterday. I'm just going to pull that up. Milan, are you on a demo? If you're on a demo, it may be tradable for you, but if you're on a real account, it's not going to be tradable. You could see TRVG on mine isn't tradable, which is frustrating. But yeah, on the demo accounts, more stocks are tradable than on the live accounts. You're on Robinhood. Okay, yeah, I'm watching NBEV for sure, Mihail. Yeah, the volume's not there is why. I think the rule with TEFs is that the stock has to have like a decent amount over 500,000 shares traded in the last 3 months. And so with that, you know, some of these stocks that slow down in volume are not going to be tradable. And so if the volume slows down, they remove it, is what it kind of happens, which is, I don't think it's necessarily bad, but you kind of miss some moves. Yeah, Mitch traded NBEV, but there was another one. It might have been the day. Maybe it was DVAX 2 days ago. Let me look. Okay, yeah, so it was the day before yesterday. Sorry. All right, guys, we got 5 seconds, so good luck in the markets. There's the bell. All right, so we got PLAG spiking up. We got PTI dropping some, although the VWAP's a little bit too low for me to attack a VWAP fade with PTI. Looking at NBEV at 519 now. Kind of a gnarly spread. CRON's pushing up some. YECO is dropping. Oh, sorry guys, I forgot to put up my intraday scans. Let me load those. There we go. Alright, so looking at DVAX here, it's at 1340s. Spread's kind of bad though, so that's the only problem I have with it is the spread's a little bad. I remember when Mitch traded it on Tuesday. On Monday, the spread was bad then too, so Got to take that into account. PTI dropping down some. It's down to 760s. PLAG at 785, 790. Up to $8. Starting to spike up some. Testing that previous high of the day at 820. Curious to see if it holds or breaks this. There goes PLAG breaking that high pre-market. It's up to 845, just about at its highs. Gonna see if this 830s level continues to hold. You know, this 830 looks like about 838, and see if that area, see if it pulls back down here at the 850s or 860s. What I want to see is if this thing pulls back and then holds this previous pre-market high right here as support is really what I'm looking at. It's a long trade. I'm probably not going to toy with it, but that's kind of what I'm looking at for it if I was going to go long on it. CRON dropping some. Crossing underneath the VWAP, so it's starting to be a little bit more interesting for me. See if it bounces at this $0.50 here. And so like I said, with PLAG, looking to see if it holds this level at around 834 as support. It's the pre-market high, you know, also possibly come if it pulls back to the VWAP. So Cron looks interesting here. Tight risk would be 64s, but it just broke that. That's the biggest thing. Maybe give myself 66 if I'm being nice with it, but that's the problem, is that it just broke the VWAP some, although it would be a tight risk. Yeah, I mean, the risk, as it gets higher, you could possibly set your risk at this 868 level. But the problem is it may bounce off of 860, so we're going to watch it, but I'm going to be careful. YECO, big drop on YECO. NIO faded nicely off the VWAP there. Missed it. Just now saw it. That's why I got to build these scans, man. PLAG pulling all the way back down, testing the lows of the day. Maybe bounce off of 750 here. Never held that pre-market high as support. Just ended up coming right back down. Like I said, man, it would have been a tight risk right there on CRON at around 868, 866. Where did it go? Right up to that level. So it would have been a nice fade, but it broke over the VWAP a little bit too much for me, at least. But my risk level would have held, but my entry, I wouldn't have liked it. I would have been too uncomfortable in it. YECO kind of acted crazy here. Low volume, huge spread. PTI breaking underneath the VWAP here. What's up, Mitch? How you doing, brother? You made 920, Cole? If so, nice work, brother. Yeah, Mitch, the only one that really kind of faded and fulfilled was CRON, which is the one I kind of called out. Like I said, though, broke over the support, was scared it would hold 860 support. And so, only reason I didn't jump in, but faded nicely. I got to be careful on Wednesdays, though. Wednesdays are my kryptonite, and so looking at PTI here, it's underneath the VWAP, although I don't know if I would necessarily like the risk and reward on PTI at this point. Risk would have to be way up here at 760, and so a 10-cent risk with a reward of only down to about 43, 42, so less than 10-cent reward, so just bad risk and reward for PTI. It could obviously keep dropping, but for that reason, I don't trust it as much. Hey, listen, a good trade's a good trade, brother. NBEV is just slow. It's probably the slowest I've seen it in the last few weeks here. Looking at VTVT is kind of holding support, putting in higher lows, breaking over the whole $1.04 on VTVT. I think it looks long, but it all depends on if it gets rejected at that 414 previous high. You can't hear Mitch. Yeah, Mitch isn't actually on the stream. Mitch is in the chat right now. He's at work. You all can hear me, right? You should be able to hear me. Looking at NIO here. If I get in at 73, my risk level could be 78, so really tight risk, maybe 81 for a 8-cent risk. Reward level would be down to 55, so from 73 to 55, almost 20-cent reward. And so that's what I'm looking at now. If it can get up to 60, or if it can get up to the 73 level, I could set my risk at 81 and my reward down at 56, 55, 56 for a good risk and reward trade. So that's what I'm looking at with NIO, although it has dropped a lot already. But we'll see if it gives me that entry. I'm smoking an electric cigarette. I'm in Texas and I have kids, so no, none of that for me. Not that I have anything morally against it, but I'm in Texas. Wish I could, but I can't. Alright, like I said, VTVT, spike it up here. Testing that 414 previous high of the day, like I mentioned, up to 515. But yeah, Kron was the fade to get into. There goes breaking that previous high. NBEV starting to wash down underneath the VWAP really strong. Beautiful fade on Kron though. Called it out, just hesitated a little bit. Like I said though, whenever I saw it, it was a little bit above the VWAP, which made me trust it a little bit less. Now though, if NBEV here can pull back to the 507 level, I could set a tight risk at 512, maybe 513 for about a 6-7 cent risk. Potential reward would be back down at least to 5, but preferably down to the 490s for good risk and reward. If it's at 5, that's 1-to-1, but if it pulls down to this 490 level, that's positive risk and reward, but we'll see. Yeah, a lot of people actually think that CSG. A lot of people think that. I get it though, Like I said, I don't have anything morally against it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. But I'm in Texas. One that looks like a fade at this point is YECO. It's just a little bit too crazy for me though. Spread's too big, gapping up after low volume. Gapping during market hours is just kind of a big sign for me. Cron rebounding some here. Pulls back to 54. Risk. I don't like the risk here as much. Risk would be at 63, so from 54 to 63 would be 9 cents. Potential reward would be from 54 down to 35. So about 20-cent risk and reward still, actually. We'll see, though. And NIO pulling back to the VWAP here. I gotta sorry if it's gonna make it harder to see, but I gotta unlap this volume. I hate it when the volume overlaps. There we go. I'm gonna save this so I don't have to keep doing that. There we go. All right, so NIO here, right around the VWAP. Risk can be maybe 76 for about a 5-6 cent risk. Reward would at least be down to 60. 10 cent reward, not bad. NBEV right up to that level here. I'm going to jump in NBEV here. Like I said, risk, maximum risk is about 14. Gonna look for it to fade off this VWAP level, and specifically 510, 511. If it breaks that, it's probably gonna jump out. 513 maybe maximum. See, we get a decent sized pullback here. There's 506s, 505s. Want to see a big wash here, but we'll see if it gives it to me. If you're wondering why I got my student account, but I'm still taking it small, it's because I'm going to wait to go bigger until Monday, because that's usually when I have the best days. Wednesdays, I typically don't do that good, and so I got to protect my account on days like today. It's kind of the big level here. There's 5s, 4s, 3s. See if it holds under 5 now. Goal is 490. Cron faded off of it again. We'll see if the rest of these follow. I do like this risk at this point in the trade. The risk is very obvious here. I know we're getting some subs here. Appreciate the sub. Anish, Harsby, Amir, Sasuk. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the subs. Welcome. Alright, gotta be careful with it here. It looks to be flagging some. Hopefully it continues to hold, but does look to be flagging some here. Like I said, I'll probably give it to maybe 514. Just want to see it get rejected at that 510 level specifically. It has some resistance there. Here's 5.9. It's going to test 5.10. The only thing I got to be careful of is if it does break this 5.10, it could really shoot up. And so, got to limit myself to a certain extent here. I appreciate the sub, ASAP. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. Also, kind of following Cron to see if it does the same thing here. Really trying to break this 510 level. These 5.9s, 5.8s, looking better. 5.7s. Let's see if we get a bigger pullback here. Really, the goal with this one is just to let it work back down to that 490 low of the day. Back up to 510. The bid is still at 507, which makes me feel a little bit better about it, but it might be tightening up here. Big some down wicks, which means selling pressure on the upside. So got to be careful, but holding it to my levels regardless. Gonna get up to 12, I think, here, per the level 2. Hey, appreciate the sub, Hanil. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, looking at Cron, see if Cron fades off the VWAP again here. It's tested it numerous times, though. I think it's got to break eventually. But watching Cron starting to spike up here. So with that, we could see NBEV spike. And so we'll see if that follows through. See how closely they're following each other. It's back up to 510. Cron's still just battling with the $0.5 though at this point. See the big wall it's got at 510. So there's 512. I thought that was incoming. Let's see if it gets slammed back down here if it starts to push. The bid's still at 509, which is what I'm kind of looking for here. But CRON did break that $0.50, and so got to be careful. Like I said, my risk in this trade was about 514, which isn't bad, I don't think. Is it back down to 510? Every time I take a hit off the vape, you get froggy. But yeah, today's Wednesday. I just got to protect my account some. I'm liking this drop here, but realistically, it needs to break under, at least down to 5 for me to feel better about the trade. I like this drop, so do like it. It also has continued to build a lot of resistance at 510 here. You can see all that resistance there, and so got to be careful, but we'll see if it follows through down underneath the VWAP at this point. Still a little bit of a choppy day in the market, I'd say. Oh yeah, CRON and NBEV typically follow each other very, very close. That's why I'm watching Cron so closely here. If Cron breaks this area here and continues to hold over 5, NBEV I think will follow it for the most part. It seems to have a lot of resistance. There's a nice drop, but we'll see if we can get under 5 at this point. Like I'm saying, like 5 is really the level I want to see break because it has this support here at 502. And so it might bounce here. But like I said, I really want to see that $5 level break. I want to see it crack under here, get some momentum down to the 490 level, which is where I want to take profits. At least some profits off there. See if it cracks the low of the day with the rest. But I don't mind being patient with it and just letting it go to my levels. If it gets up to 514, 515, I could just get out of the trade, and that's okay. You know, if you give yourself positive risk reward in every trade, as long as your accuracy rate is over 50%, you'll still be profitable in the long run as long as you hold it to your levels. And so that's all I'm trying to do is just set myself good risk and reward. I know with the fade, the accuracy rate is going to be higher than 50%. And so all I can really do is just hold it to my levels. Down to 503s, back up to 507s. What's up, Marty? I just got the student account today, but I'm going to wait until Monday to take larger sizing. There we go. Here's the test of the whole dollar. I'm going to wait till Monday to take larger sizing just because Wednesdays historically are not good days for me. And so with that said, I have to be a little bit more careful on Wednesdays, and I don't really want to start using bigger sizing until Monday. Monday's probably when I'm going to start. I might use a few hundred shares until then, but that's really what I want to see. That's really what I want to see. The increase is next week starting Monday. I'll start trying to get in with 200-300 shares, 400 shares. IRBT. A little bit more expensive than I typically trade, but if it pulls back to the VWAP, it doesn't look bad, for me at least. We'll see what happens. Faded off there once already up down here. But at this point, it's low enough to where, you know, if it rebounds, that's okay. You know, but it's going to test that $5 level. Ooh, big spike up to 510. Did anybody else get that on their screen? You see this big up wick? I didn't even see the level 2 change. Did anybody else get that big up wick on their screen, on their chart? Let me know for NBEV. I don't know if Thinkorswim's just lagging or what it is, but that's weird. Okay, yeah, you got it too. Okay, at least it's not just me. And so that 510 level still holding as resistance. So if we get a nice crack under 5 is what I'm looking for. There's 501. Just testing the whole dollar again. Like I said, ultimate goal with this one is to let it get down to this previous low here at the 490s. Right there. That's where I'm really looking for with this one. IGC spiking. That's bad for me for this NBEV trade. Kron finally broke back under the $0.50, so we'll see if they follow, but it's got to break under this $5 level. But yeah, IGC did spike. IGC's been getting hit the last few days, though. If you look at it, not yesterday. Yesterday it started to spike back up, but all the days before that it's been getting hit pretty hard. And so I'm not surprised some of these cannabis stocks are rebounding some today. But like I said, NBEV's got to battle this $5 level and then break underneath it. Hopefully we get a big drop if it does. 490. Abby. There's the crack underneath. Looks good. Let's see if it drops down to that 490 level for me. It may bounce some here. At right around 95, 96. But realistically, if it gets down to 491, 492, I'll take my first profit off. What's up, Andre? What's up, brother? Alright, there's the first drop. Let me see if I can get out here while it still gives me room. Alright, I took half off there at 490. And so at this point, I'm comfortable in the trade. I can just let it work, you know. I can just let it work, try to break under that 490 level. And if it doesn't, I can get out for break even, small win. Is the goal. Like I said, though, when it broke under 5 and it couldn't hold under 5, it really tanked. Now the goal is 490. See if it break under that previous low and then give me a much bigger wash. A lot of times with these second partials or with the remaining position, it might take a while and it might rebound some back and forth until then. But try to give it that time. It's back up to 5. Getting a little spready and choppy here. But like I said, want to see it break under 490. We'll see if it gives it to me. Ugh, I gotta turn the volume down. These subs hurt my ears. Appreciate the sub, Will. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. Welcome to the channel, bro. We got a few up wicks on the upside. At this point, if it breaks over 5, I'll probably end up getting out of the trade. Want to see that $5 area turn into resistance just because it took so long for it to break underneath it and it really struggled there. And so, probably going to let that be my out. Got to get rid of some of this chop though. See if we get this wash back down to 490s, 494s. NIO. I was watching NIO as well. I just kind of missed it. It faded nicely. The first fade was probably the best one here. Didn't quite get up there, but the second fade wasn't too bad. Gave you about 10, 15 cents. Look at PTI tank. PTI dropping pretty big here. And so I hope you guys can see why this 490 level was my first profit target. Where did it go when it first dropped? Exactly down to 490. Exactly down to the very cent. And so I hope you guys can see how I calculated that reward and why I calculated that reward as 490. Is because that's right where it dropped. So here's a nice push. We'll see if it can really crack under here. This is what I want to see, is a big drop underneath this. Volume come in. We got the volume. And I really want to see a big crack. There's 89s. Let's see if we get a big wash under. A lot of times they'll fake you out here, but gonna give it that time to really drop. Ugh, I gotta turn the volume down, like I said. These subs hurt my ears. And if it doesn't give me that big breakdown, I'm just going to get out, really, if it breaks back up over 490. Probably set this 94 level as my risk. All right, about got out as soon as I saw 95 flash there. Maybe got out a little bit too early, but I'll take it. If it bounces back up to the VWAP, I'll consider adding back my position. But small gain. Didn't get that follow through here. You can see it just kind of faked me out right here, and so ended up just taking it off. Not bad. I'll take it. Small gain, but I'll take it. Ready to use some bigger sizing next week, really. I think it's time. The reason I got out here, and regardless of what it does, I'm pretty happy with the exit, but the reason I got out here is because it faked the break of the low of the day. And so in this case, unless I'm willing to hold it all the way back up here, then I have to just take the position off. And don't really want to see it get right back up here to take away my profits considering the small share size I took. And so just ended up taking it off here once it faked me out at this low. Let me remove these. But the good lesson to take from this trade is why I set my profit targets at the previous lows. And the reason I do this at these previous lows here is because generally with the natural progression of the stock, most of the time, if it's still in a downward trend, most of the time it's going to come right back and test these lows again. Most of the time. And now what I could see happening with NBEV, we'll see if I'm right, is it kind of teeters back and forth, up high, back down low, up high, back down low, and forms a descending triangle until it starts to get squeezed right around a little bit later on in the day, until it either just breaks on the upside really big or breaks on the downside really big. Haniel, it's shorting, so I'm shorting stocks. So I profit when the stock goes down. And yeah, there's up to 98. That's kind of why I wanted to get out. If what I could see happening, like I said, if $5 holds as resistance, it could come right back down and then crack the lows later. But I'm more of a scalper trade, and so didn't really want to hold it through this pullback, which I kind of had a feeling was coming, especially when you get that big volume in here and it just kind of fakes you out and comes right back down. Now, like I said, I could see an inverted triangle, or a descending triangle, I should say, starting to form here. If it continues to push up to the VWAP, back down, push up to the VWAP, back down, slowly starting to get wedged as the VWAP and the support drops lower and lower, or in the resistance drops lower and lower, and it could get wedged and break under 490 eventually. But I actually have a doctor's appointment today at 11. As I was saying earlier, I have a cardiologist appointment today at 11. And so they're going to do an ultrasound of my heart, make sure I'm okay with those problems. And so I just don't know if I'm going to be able to hold it throughout the day. Kind of like a good example of what I think might happen is what you see here on NIO, where it's going to kind of test these lows, bounce back up, kind of form a descending triangle until it just gets until the stock just gets wedged in between resistance and support, until it just breaks on one of those sides. But yeah, not bad so far this week. This week I have had 2 break-even days, essentially break-even days, and 2 winning days. And so I'll take it. No, 1 break-even day, 1 winning day. Yesterday, I think I ended up like $1 or $2 in gross profits, and so almost completely break-even. Friday was a green day, and then today was a green day. And so I'll take it. Yeah, so I short at a higher price. So, like, for instance, in this trade, I got in going short right around the VWAP here at about 507. Wrote it down to 590, sold part of the profits, let it test this low. When it bounced here, sold at 493. And so when the stock goes down, I profit is basically what you want to know with shorting. But yeah, like I said, I think the real lesson is just to show you why I set my reward targets where I do. And the reason I set them there is because if a stock is in a downward trend, usually, not always, but usually it's at least going to test the low of the day at least one more time. And after that, if you take a profit here like I did, even if it rebounds, I could still get out for a green trade. And so I think giving yourself a partial order and setting yourself positive risk reward in every trade is crucial. And I can't really complain about the trade. I mean, I held it to my first reward target. That's the most important thing. Like I said, my risk in this trade was 14, with an entry of 7. And so my risk was 7 cents. My reward was from 7 down to 4.90. And so my reward was 17 cents. So better than 2 to 1 reward to risk on that trade. And if I set myself that with each trade I get into, even if I'm only right half the time, I'll still be profitable in the long run. Netron, I don't want the market to crash, bro. I think people have probably heard me say I actually want the market to go up. Because a lot of times, regardless of what the market's doing, it still doesn't matter. Like, there's still shorts available, especially when you're shorting terrible companies like I'm doing. You know, it's not like I'm shorting super healthy companies here. I mean, I'm sure some of them are okay, but most of the time I'm shorting these terrible companies. And so no matter what the market does, it doesn't matter, you know. Like, there's going to be shorts for me regardless. Just because, you know, I want the economy to do well, I want the market to be up. I don't want the market to be down, you know. I know you're kidding, bro. I guess I'm just explaining it just to explain it. But yeah, I could tell you were being sarcastic, man. No stress, brother. But yeah, hopefully the market pulls up. I mean, the market's still up some. I mean, it's been up a lot in the last year, so. Yeah, there's a hilarious video on Reddit called Buying MU, I think is the name of the video. A few people I've sent it to. It's funny. It's funny. It's just about what you're saying. CSG. Yeah, when I first started trading, Jason, I actually kind of had that mentality. Like, I was losing so much when I first started trading that literally kind of flashed my mind. Well, whatever my idea is, let me just do the opposite and I'll profit. I wish it was that easy. But yeah, for sure, Jason. I mean, if you set yourself positive risk and reward levels and then stick to those plans, and you're accurate with those levels more than 50% of the time, you'll be a profitable trader. You just got to stick to those levels, you know. Like, it was tempting to take some at $5 here, even though my share sizing was small, but I held it until 490, the same level I talked about. And that way, even if it rebounds like it did here, I can get out for a green trade. And so it's all about sticking to your levels, analyzing the risk and reward of your trade before you get into it, and sticking to those risk and reward levels. Because if you stick to those levels, you know, you'll be able to compensate for the commissions, you'll be able to compensate for the losses you take. Yeah, for sure. It is like life, man. Really, it makes sense why it would be like life is because it's all about people's emotions. Like that's all the market is people's emotions. You know what I mean? Like that's all the market really is. It helps you really understand the psychology of people. That's why I like shorting is because panic is a stronger emotion than hope is. At least in my opinion, you know. But everybody, it's all subjective, and that's the beautiful thing about it as well. It's all subjective. Milan says, "Hey, I'm down 10. If you help me make a $20 trade, I'll give you half, and keep half to break even today." I mean, listen, man. If y'all been following me, I really don't like telling people where to buy or sell. Just for liability reasons. Like, if people want to watch me and emulate my strategy, that's great. I think that's understandable. But if I'm not one of those people that like to give out hot picks, quote unquote hot picks. I'm not one of those people. I think you got to be independent as a trader. I know you're just being sarcastic, so don't think I'm targeting you specifically. I'm just talking, I guess. But I think a lot of new traders rely on hot picks, and I think to be independent as a trader, you got to figure out how to do it all yourself. You could copy other people's strategies, and that's totally fine. I think every strategy is copied to one extent, to a certain extent. But they got the certain people that just post hot picks on Facebook, and I just don't think that's the way to go. Who is Tesla? You talking about me, bro? I should do another job, beginner. Yeah, Forex market is something I haven't really been. It's not something I'm really interested in doing. It's just the reason being is because it's open 24/7, and so I don't think I would ever sleep if the stock market was open 24/7. Okay, yeah, no stress, Tesla. Just making sure. I mean, I don't know if it's risky or not. I'm not the one to ask. Never traded Forex. I've been a little curious of it, but never really traded it. I'm gonna see if there's any stocks that look like good put option buys. Is probably what I'm gonna do now. Is look for a few stocks that look like good put options. Um, Another good fade today was VKTX. The two greatest fades today, or the best fades at least that I see, were no VKTX wasn't that good, but the best one I think was Kron, the one I originally called out this morning. Faded off really nicely, tight risk. Eventually dropped down to the 830, so a lot of profit to be made on that move. And yeah, there's NBEV spiking up. So I mean, I sold pretty close to the bottom of this move. I'm happy with it, but like I said, it may. At this point, even if you enter it here, your risk is still pretty small at 510. But what happens, what might happen, which happens a lot in general, is that it might fade back down here, pull back up, fade back down until eventually the VWAP is so low to where it's just going to get wedged in between those support and resistance areas in between 490 and 5 until it either breaks down really big or breaks up really big. What are you talking about, Trader JI? Tesla, if Thinkorswim's freezing your Mac, go whenever you sign in. There should be a settings, and there should be like an option on how much RAM to give Thinkorswim. Just slow the RAM down. Don't give it as much RAM. Is usually what the problem is. That, or if you go to setup at the top right in application settings, if you go to setup in the top right in application settings and go to system, you can set it to have a small delay, which should make it a little bit easier on your computer. Like if you give it a 1 second delay, the level 2s aren't going to flash as quick, and it might be a little bit easier on your computer. So maybe try that. Also, like I said, go to on the sign in thing from Thinkorswim. There should be an option to lower the amount of RAM you're giving Thinkorswim, and so maybe just try lowering that. Yeah, no worries. Quick question: what controls resistance? I mean, nothing really. I mean, it's just about psychology, you know. I use the history of the chart. Why was 514 my resistance level? Is because it was the high of this big push here. You know, it also had some support at 510 like you saw, but I gave myself 514 just in case it pulled one of these little moves where it bounced up to 512. Why was 490 my support, my target? Is because it had previous support at the low of the day here. And so, yeah, especially with shorting gap ups, like a lot of times I short gapping stocks. Why do I short gapping stocks? Because I can base it off the pre-market levels. You know, whenever you're going long on a stock, specifically a gapping up stock, a lot of times it's going to be above these pre-market levels, and so you're going to have to go back to the previous day or so. But if you're shorting gapping stocks like this, I can base the trade off of these pre-market levels. Level 1 CSG is just the current bid and ask. It's just the current price, basically. It's just the current quote price. Level 2 is the order book, where you can see all the different, you can see all the different bid and asks that are going on at that time, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but level 1 is just the basic quote price. Level 2 is the level actual, like the order book here, where you can see all these. Man, I know for a fact you smoke. Only hippies say no worries. I mean, I don't have anything against it. I'm not saying I haven't in the past, but at this point in my life with 2 kids and living in Texas, I mean, that's a no-go for me, brother. For day traders, the 9, the 12, the 50, 200 is usually for longer term trades. 9, 12, 50 is usually what I use if I'm using moving averages, which I don't that much. But when I do, if I do, it's going to be the 9 or the 12 probably. Yeah, the only one I got into live gauge was NBEV. Kron faded a little bit off the VWAP this morning. Kron did as well. EMA. I use the EMAs, Jeff, but it's all subjective, man, you know. Yeah, I think the 9, honestly, is probably the most used. You know, the big thing people want to understand with any indicator is you want to try to find the indicator that the most people use. Because the only reason technical analysis works is because other people think it works. And so you want to try to look at what everybody else is using, because they're like, for instance, if everybody else is trying to get in a stock using the EMA as support, when they buy it at that support, the stock's going to go up. And so you want to try to find the EMA that everybody else is using. And with that being said, I think it's probably the 9 or 12. I've had a lot of people say they use the 9. A lot of people say they use the 12. But yeah, it's all subjective. It all depends. How do I configure? Oh yeah, well the VWAP, the great thing is like it's not like the EMAs where there's different variations of it. The VWAP's just the VWAP, and tons of traders use the VWAP, and thus is why I use it. It's because so many other traders use it, and it's just a good indicator. It's a good indicator for support and resistance. It's obviously it's my favorite indicator. It's what I use every day. I'm around the Houston area. How do you configure your chart below your level 2? I don't know. I mean, my charts are above the level 2. So, like, this is my level 2. This is my charts. I'm not sure if you can, but somebody else might know. But I'm not 100% sure, really. Hey, Revenge, what's up, brother? I mean, hey, I'm not trying to get too specific about where I live, but let's just say I'm right down the street from the market center. You know what I mean? But that's all about as specific as I'm going to get. Yeah, I don't like using the. I mean, I just don't. The thing about trading is, like, I just stick to what works for me. And what works is the VWAP. Like I said, this week I've had one break-even day and 2 green days this week, and so I'm happy with how this week has gone thus far. Haven't had really a significant losing day this week. 2 green days and 1 break-even day where I ended it up $1 or 2 in gross profits, probably down about $1 or 2. But every other, the last 2 days have been green days. I think maybe yesterday was a red day. I don't know. But I just stick to what works, and the VWAP works for me, And that's kind of what you got to find your niche in trading, see what works, Get out of here with that, Milan. Come on now. I know you're joking, though. Oh, yeah, NAUH popping up with the scanners. And Jeff mentioning it. But yeah, NAUH popping up here. Kind of a crazy move, low float stock. Making moves. I wonder what's going on with it. But yeah, look at this fade. The only reason I didn't jump in this fade on Kron was because I was already in NBEV. But look at this fade. Beautiful fade. Here. Tight risk. Around 56, 57. Nice work, James. Congrats, brother. Nice trading. But yeah, I'm probably going to go ahead and close it down. Like I said, though, today's news was brought to you by SnapTrade. Really awesome free tool for traders. You can see here, I build my watch list here each morning. Gives you all the different indicators for it. And I do share this watch list with a few people each morning. So if you want to be added, let me know. Leave me a comment and let me know. But I also use the scanner on a daily basis. You can see high gainer penny stocks, high gainer volatile stocks. I might have to change this. Upcoming earnings, utilities, cannabis stocks. So regardless of what sector, they have a scan for it. They also recently added this portfolio section, which I think is a cool idea. You can vote on stocks, and the top voted stocks get added to their 100K paper account, and it actually shows you how those stocks are doing. And then they also use the best performers and add it to a real money account on Robinhood. And so you can see it's up like almost 25K, judging it off of the top voted stocks from SnapTrade. It's a really cool feature I think they added, kind of a crowdsourcing stock idea. And they even have news. And so I can go to today's news only and it shows me today's news, or I can click Watchlist and it shows me the news on my watch list. And so a really cool free tool. Go check it out. I'll post the link. Yeah, man, those halts are scary, James. But nice work rebounding it, brother. Good work today, man. It does happen, bro. And that's why I get very hesitant to set my reward level or my risk level at the high of the day, just because sometimes when a stock squeezes up really quickly, they can get halted at the high of the day. And so for that reason, I hate setting my reward level at the high of the day.
Call from Mode. Call from Mode.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Sorry, house phone's ringing. And for that reason, I'm out. Shark Tank. But yeah, also, if anybody's interested in signing up to TradeNet, their 20% off sale is done, but I still have a link that gets you 10% off, I think. Biggest flaw in TradeNet, I always try to be honest with people about it, but the biggest flaw is that some stocks are not tradable on TEFs. Like today, they removed IGC. What was the other big mover today? NAUH probably isn't tradable. And so the biggest flaw is that some stocks aren't tradable, especially stocks under $4 or $5 are typically not tradable. Sometimes you get outliers like NBEV is still tradable, Cron is tradable, NIO is tradable, but you do want to understand that before you sign up. I love it though. It's kind of the perfect broker for me just because I can short anything that's tradable. I can short cheap commissions, quick fills, and cheap platform. And so for that reason, I love it. But if you're interested in signing up, I'll post the link. You can go check it out. No. So my doctor's appointment is actually at 11 my time. Not 10:30. I think it's at 11. Did I say 10:30 earlier? But it's at 11:30. Or no, it's at 11. Actually, let me call. But yeah, I got to get an ultrasound done. I think I'm okay. I think I just have sleep apnea and it's freaking me out. But I want to get an ultrasound done to be safe. But I think it's at 11 actually, not 10. But I'll call and make sure. But yeah, everybody have a good day. Good luck for the rest of the day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Another green day today. That's 2 green days, 1 break-even day on yesterday, I think. But not too shabby. I'll take it. Good luck for the rest of the day, guys. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I day trade live on stream every weekday morning starting at 8:40 market time. Typically streaming until about 10:15, 10:30. And so if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you want to help support the channel, you can click the like button right now on this video. If you appreciate this content and want to help support us, click the like button. And like I said, I appreciate it if you do. And yeah, good luck for the rest of the day. Have a good day. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, same time as always.